inverse. In fact, I'd say it was more strong than the pistol Nouns got on their T side, based on the fact that you look at it from Limitless to CT in the first, well, it came through with only one player being on A. Switch it around, they walked into a stack B site, they came out the winners. That's promising as we shift into Anubis, and Limitless get to show that T-sided prowess again.
Okay, pretty quick into it. Not a whole lot of time for us to waste as we just jump right back into these, like we never left. Now we go walking it down in towards A main, silent as ever as George is playing for contact. Maybe a late flash from a teammate, but they're on a recon mission right now across the other strings of the map. They haven't cleared this. They haven't cleared it at all, but George, little bit crazy on the spray. Firing off as fast as he can, but accuracy is more important in this instance as they get their bomb plant to man up.
Wolfie, I love this off angle. They're not going to expect it. And again, Wolfie shines. He was a very big piece of their first T-pistol. It seems to be the case again. Limitless, quite the role reversal as they look to take a lead for the first time in the series, albeit fragile. But it's a lead that they haven't had what feels like almost all season.
Lead is a lead.
Don't matter how you get it. Matters how you hold it. And I love this from Nouns. Soon as they're, well, I'm not going to say as far as back against the wall yet, but
back against the wall. It's basically
1-0
over.
down. It's you might as well pack it up. I will say that there is some pressure put onto him, so the buy comes through. And again, it looks this will be a face toward A with only one in defense of CJ to King. Smoke thrown off of an Instinction, and that would be right, but I think they're going to go through it without making a peep.
5-7's great for this position, though. Oh, not able to exchange his dinks. He just gets some shots into the shoulders. One to the left and one to the right of Tender. He's going to be sore, but gotta get back now to try and maybe save this armor to fight another day, as there's no reason to throw them away. It's Rush with the SMG that might be able to make some more money, even if they go for a hunt onto them. They don't want to be playing these long-range battles with any of these players, but knowing that there's 3 MAC-10s on our perspective on an outside looking in still could be problematic for them.
Yeah, this isn't really around. You want to be tossing away rifles willy-nilly. Limitless, there is still a threat to worry about here in the saved-over weapons. And this buy in the following round only gets stronger if you give away a gun and don't get a trade. Imagine you could somehow retain a Galil or even a MAC-10. Throw your pistol over to your comrade and rock the 2 SMGs. That's all fine and well. And Wolfie's going to start moving into this crossfire, so this might be another gun dropped or the inverse of 2 weapons ripped out of the hands of CTs and making this third round a lot more tame.
Lobbing over any extra util to try and make something happen. A game plan seems to be in place for this round, so see what they've got cooking. At the very least, just make sure that they're not running into this one dry with just these pistols. And a burst from Rush nearly reined in, damage dealt onto Wiz, but finished off eventually. A late aggro peek from Carson could do something, actually.
Wouldn't be the first time. I'm thinking back to where he was 3 HP and jumped through a smoke, and it seems he's going to pull it off again. Trade's there from Sam. It's not going to get that far out of hand, but still feels like more than should have been allowed. Doesn't matter, though. All's fine and well with Limitless, sitting pretty in what seems to be a 3-0 bow tie of a start.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow. All right.
Wait a minute.
No, this isn't winnable, but... Nah, that Molly is gonna really put it out of arm's reach, which is unfortunate for his case, because like you were kind of onto something with the
even just kills.
Players low, right?
If you decided to echolocate the bomb planter based on the sound of the C4 spot inside of the smoke, then spam that same area and pizza at in the moment after, you would have found them both with one stray bullet. It would have been done. USP, even Galil not necessary. Even then, 4 kills in that round would have been huge. But even so, they get the AWP for the man to be named for Mirage and Junior, who's not exactly off to the same start where he had died 3 times in a total of 10 rounds, I think, in the last game. He's already up to that point now. Obviously not something that is reasonably maintainable. I'm just saying.
Right. What is maintainable is the form of aggression you take in your rifle rounds, because Nouns have stuck with it, and they've taken full control of B main. Look at the way they're going to shift their defense. Put that whole of mid out of worry. Or maybe back into it, because this is all on a timing that George wins. DJF just looked away. And they're going to go waltzing into A site. Sure, maybe a bomb plant in sight, but if they use their utility right, DJF's going to win them the round before this bomb can even show face. Another nade in mid, as everybody's eyes are trained on the angle of long. Good opener from Carson, and again, this puts a wrench in things.
Yeah, man, this is a game of delay that Nouns win every day of the week. Blank. Not even really necessary in activation, as everybody else is able to keep them at bay on the outer extremities of camera side, and they can take them down one by one, systematically breaking apart the Limitless aggression. Great information to start with, and from there, I love the fact that they don't really necessarily have to dump all their bodies into that flank knowing it exists. They can keep one in, what's the phrase? It would be insurance, and the rest can just body back up towards that top side of mid, knowing nothing else can go wrong. The only way that round goes haywire south side is if they somehow manage to get into water and then through E-box audibly, but they know that isn't going to be the case.
Right now, the only case is the rebuy from Limitless, putting pretty much everything they've got on the line. And maybe Junior heating up in retaliation. Nouns utility usage is something to be inspired by from that last round and this one. It's so weird because DJF had that monstrous flank that didn't actually matter. Or not DJF, I'm sorry, it was George, but set him up real well. It looks like right now Rush is trying to set him up well. Again, I love that nade, dude. Just blowing up in the left side of that smoke exclusively. And not only that, but it dunks on a Seb. And they're right back to an even Steven spot.
Rush drops the smoke. That's 18 seconds off the clock. 40 seconds at that stage in Limitless. They're just going to have to sit and wait, and I think it's going to be pretty telling. I think that nothing happening around any other side of the map by the time that smoke does fade is going to leave Nouns pretty comfortable that it is going to be B play. But the one thing that might dissuade them, actually, is knowing that B main is clear. Oh, this is a weird strategy. 4 through E-box?
Hey, man.
Rush has
If
a molly,
works,
too.
It works. Oh, wait, this is going to
So does George.
This is going to hurt, dude. As soon as they try to scale into the site, one of those, there it is. Molly's
Cycle
gonna
the
stop
next.
them. There's only 26 seconds. You're right. If they just throw the second molly down, or even throw it on the site, for God's sake, it doesn't matter where they put it. That'll be the round right there. These smokes need to be utilized and saved properly. Oh my God, that might be round defining.
It's literally over.
You have to go through it. You can't wait. You can't wait. You don't have the time to wait. Flashes go in, and so do they. There's Rush stepping up. George behind him. Even if this trade comes through, it might just not matter. Sam traded out through the smoke. 6 seconds to go. 5. Wiz misses it on the pickup. It's too late. They lost it to time again, and they might even get dropped after it. Wiz stuck behind the pillar. CJ, if this kill comes through, it would be devastating. Wiz, it's a game of survival that he barely gets away with.
Holy, jumping through the smoke there with the USP wasn't even necessary at that point in time, but it nets him even a kill on top. The bomb was never going to be able to be planted. The sound cue never came through. But even so, a valiant attempt to stop them should it have been the case. They couldn't pick up the most important piece to the objective in a second round secured off the back of it. AK-4 Wiz to utilize pistols across the rest, except for DJF, who was also afforded a fully automatic rifle. But they are going to have to be powerhouses in this one if they want to sneak away around.
Oh, look at this, though. Setting up Wiz, getting it in early, getting those hands.
Less than ideal flashbang.
Honestly, the only thing being dirty or cleaned up is him getting cleaned up in B main, and it doesn't seem anything is going Limitless way. I loved the idea going in, but downhill it went, and downhill goes the round with DJF, the only rifle really to speak of. I don't think the standings change all that much, or do they? There is the bomb in B main and an open B site to get the plant down in. Any cash is helpful.
Wolfie sneaking away with a bomb plant there. The only 2 kills in the round. Gonna try and go and blend against this wall. They're being very cautious about this even so. I mean, obviously you want to be cautious, but Not being overzealous in their clears is one thing, and even Carson, just in the nick of time, hitting the floor as he jumped around the bend to clear. Go 3-3.
Look, I call that a win exclusively for him because that's a dead round, right? I mean, you weren't winning it. It was a 1v5, like, whatever, right? But you got 2 kills. You got a plant. You forced some replies. You did something. However, if you can't, you know, rekindle that fire we saw in the opener, I don't really know how much it's going to amass to. Again, Junior's op is what has me really worried, specifically because we haven't seen it, but it's still here. And eventually, it's going to get tested, kind of like Carson in mid. Uncharacteristic, it seems. He only gets the 1. The AK stolen and a 4-on-4 taken.
CJ awaiting the blow to the smoke if there is to come one, or a pop through the flash there, and CJ is holding on to it comfortably enough, you would have thought, but the jump through is going to be the SMG's movement that catches them off. Still low. A pair and a bomb planted. And time to spare with the smoke to delay out through beaches. Get an upgrade into an AK-47 tender, luckily for him, but Rush, he's going to have to be so careful about how he walks into this one. The shoulder seen first from the T walking in through the other end, though. Maybe a little bit too much of a hunt for him, knowing he dropped that smoke. Should have just played for them to go his way, but there's Wiz once more applied into the open arms of the op, picked up by Rush and couldn't get the reload off in time. Now George left to close with 1 kill already, the second soon to follow. Drops that smoke to the left side, but spotted to the right. What was that flick? It must have been perfect, right onto the noggin and a defused. Go with it 4 in a little bit of a scary round.
Do you see what I'm saying though? Like, bro, all these fights, man, it just feels like you don't get a chance. The one part of that round that really shocks me, though, is, I mean, again, you don't know, right? Because Junior never rattled off a shot. He never even got close to firing one. But it's Junior, you know? Like, you almost want to imagine he's going to have an op there. You pick that up, Wiz scopes in. What does that round look like? Is that a Limitless round we're talking about? I mean, I couldn't tell you, but that could have honestly been better off. Can't really take away from that shot, though, from George. It's just as hard. It's just as impossible. But a timeout called yet again. Rather, a tech pause, I should say. So far, it seems both of these sides have been riddled with them. But I am relieved by a lot of these players' movement. I do see some wiggles around. I feel like this might be the time to talk about our fast food opinions.
No.
No? Man.
So good movie you saw recently.
I haven't seen a movie in a while. I think the most recent movie I watched was A Quiet Place, and I didn't even finish it.
Was it good?
Didn't really tickle my fancy. It's very slow. Very, very slow. It starts off fast, right? Like, I mean, you have like this somewhat slow scene, but it, you know, the way it ends, it's kind of a fast-paced thing. Then it's just kind of like 50 minutes of dead time. I mean, it's what sucks about a horror movie sometimes, right? Like, you got to have the pacing slow to build up that really dramatic feeling, but sometimes it's just too long. That it was Human Centipede. Anyway, Nouns. 4-3 up with Junior posted on A main. I will say he's been rather mobile with the op. That. Oh, they blocked it. Okay, I don't know why I thought Junior threw a smoke behind him. I was gonna say that would have been quite the questionable move, but no, he didn't. Still posted. There has usually been a player around this side of the pillar, but the op maybe not something of anticipation as he tucks up in heaven. Maybe sees if the eye in the sky can't get this round on the go.
Pop the smoke. Barely any vision on the right side. More than enough on the left for George to line up a frag and get out of dodge quickly. Rush to take the damage, actually, funny enough. An accessory to the crime. There's still 3 towards B, and they want more. They want more. Anthran, they do not cease fire. They run it down into B main, one after another. They don't space properly for them to swing in simultaneous act, but even still, Rush, in seconds after, his teammate will fall, takes the kill back to their way, and still only 1 player up, actually, as things have gone a little bit sour over towards the top side of A. Knowing now that Tender should be flanking, though, somebody's got to hold for it.
I mean, this round is not as over as initially expected after that 4-on-2. Now, might be. They know this could be a possibility, and Rush's spot of it is perfect. On the ball. Even if you swallow this nade hole, it doesn't matter. 20 seconds, look where the bomb is. You don't have time to clear any of these angles whatsoever. Carson just hangs on. Another round that seems to have not lived up to desires for Limitless. Again, the rifles are going to keep coming through. I guess you have at least that benefit at the T side. You can just keep hammering it home with these buys and hope for the best. But doesn't mean they're going to be great. Still missing a lot. And because of it, they go for something a little more aggressive. At the start, I thought it was just going to be a quick lineup toward B. Go in, see where you fit in. But they've slowed it down. Now they really let Nouns start to feel themselves.
I don't have a great feeling about this round for Limitless either, honest and truthfully. I think that the only way that they really crack this one down is if Carson goes down with nothing. Or excuse me, CG goes down with nothing at A main, but he's got teammates there now. The spread is not going to be easy to work with now, especially now that B main's been smoked off deep. They're going to have to wait that much longer. And knowing now that there's a stack over towards that A side, us, you and me as spectators and everybody in the chat as well, this could be what the doctor ordered. A pop in, could catch one off guard because they are convinced that there's something happening on the other side of the map.
This is all timing, right? Do they want to go through the smoke? If they pop through the smoke early, they are going to catch an A site or a B site with their pans completely down. Right now, there's discovery going on toward A. Seeing nothing here from Nouns,
could be
starting to have them cheat a player back. But Rush is currently the only one to defend the A site. He's got a molly, but he doesn't have a kill. He doesn't hold it down on a whiz. Thought it was a done deal. Instead, they nullify the contract, and Nouns have to attempt a retake.
Painful losing that body, and Wolfie at A main has been dealt with, but they're not going to flood in through the back line. It's going to be Tender hearing it all. He's going to be playing to spoil it. And I think he might have done it. I think they're going to all bypass him. If anybody does, they're going to be having their knife out more likely than not.
No
They
way!
turned! Carson, the awareness on him is at actually 11. He's so dialed into this one, stuck in center sight. Seb, the only one. There's a cross Seb from the player inside of B main, but Seb's going to be spotted first and dealt with.
I mean, DJF, you're the only thing standing between them and the round because your teammate's on 4 HP. Somebody's got to get on it, though. The time is really starting to become a factor. Held down Junior, the shot of the game, and he doesn't drop it. No layup Swift here. Nouns doubling the score of Limitless and look to extend.
Ooh. That's about as down to the wire as it'll come for a CT side retake, but honest and truthfully, Nouns looked like they were in control of it all the way through once they had gotten to the point where Carson found the kill in front side CT spawn Anthran. The trades were perfect. The post in the end from Junior and not George was even better in my opinion because the Opper needs to hit that shot. He didn't have the HP to go for anything other than that. If you were to go for the stick, George would have had to hit every single bullet, right? And think about it like this. 1 bullet required from the Op and time enough, not for Junior, excuse me, for George to get on the bomb if Junior had gone down instead. Scary.
Everything about it is scary. But Nouns, in every one of these weird rounds, seem to be coming out the victor, man. That was their 6th in a row. We got to remember that. As soon as the guns came out, the gloves came off, and Nouns have just been off to the races, and Junior alongside it. There's that op. I told you, man. It's been here the whole time. Eventually, we're going to see it. And now we're starting to. Another advantage held as the round ticks thinner. So do the belts of utility. Look at this from Carson taking full control of Canals. They know exactly what's going on. In fact, everybody's starting to flood in. DJF puts a stop to it.
And CJ's angle is still hard to break apart, but seemingly manageable for Seb. Cutting off the bomb carrier right now, maybe? DJF actually needs a little bit of support to get back into it. And Junior might now have room to slip in as well. He can kind of hightail it over to hold and post for them to make their way. And I don't think they're going to be ready for it.
Oh, well, again, we're going to have to call upon Junior. What a nade! Perfect!
What?
This? Not a bit of damage? TJF's going to walk straight in. Junior, this round was yours! You've been robbed!
I don't understand what just happened. I don't understand. How did it do no damage? If anything, it landed on the top of the cake right in front of him in the middle of the pillar. I don't know. Is there a replay possible?
I really hope there is. I want to see
I'd
that.
really like to. I don't. This is going to be a pistol SMG. No, I don't think we're going to be able to get it in time. But maybe at the end of next round, if we can get a replay of that nade trajectory, that would be really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like it would have been right on the top of his head.
I don't know, man. And I don't think Junior knows either. This is frustration starting to kick in. After a round loss like that, it's going to sting.
Okay, 3v3.
And so are the bullets of that MP9. I just don't know what to say.
CJ walking it in from the bottom side right now of water. 2, actually, as a matter of fact, closest of the 2 blinded and deep at range. CJ able to get into a position where maybe a Galil can get him a more comfortable fight. But Wiz, don't be a hero right now, man.
No, not the play. I love this. Instead of dropping down, they decide, you know what? We have mid control. We've got all this space.
Oh, he's baiting him into him.
I can just post up. Is he, though?
Yeah.
I mean, oh, wait, no.
He's
This
trying
is so smart.
to.
Yeah, you're right. He can't. Oh, he had a shot.
There it is.
He had his opportunity. Wouldn't have changed anything. I think CJ still gets the trade, but he did have a chance.
Getting at a 6-6 half, maybe even 7-5 for Nouns right now. I doubt that much, but a 6-6 is really solid. Really, really solid. I'll say moving into the attack, they're going to be feeling a lot better about that much probably. They're going to be a little bit more comfortable going for their game style on a T-sided map, you know. With a little bit more in the way of practice across top to bottom for the whole board.
Oh my god. Dude, what is this? It's a rush play on the last round. Limitless. They put it all on the line. They say, we're feeling the fire and we're going to play with it. Wolfie's Mac 10, a double entry. And there's still a third one here, but he's no match on 1 HP.
My lord.
Wolfie does his best Carson impression and looks to put things to a close George back into it.
Whoa.
But out of it right after.
Doesn't even know where to look, and then Rush on the top side trying to drop down. So many smokes all about, but we'll see if this one will close in the way of Nouns in 2-0 or if Limitless have done it on Anubis.
the competition I was waiting for. Limitless. Round-wise, this is their best game of the season. And we are only at halftime, tied up at 6-all. Nouns have got to work for this one a bit more. And I'm loving it, because Limitless's pistols have been superb as of late. And you keep that fire burning here, it'll again be elite. And it's NL. Wah wah.
All good. Regain. Set. See what they've got. So we've got only we only have like 7 more rounds to go. Best case scenario before one of these teams runs away with it. T side. It could happen. It could happen.
It could.
It could happen. No, but in all seriousness, I think that what I was most impressed with in that last map that we had seen between these two teams in Mirage was their T-side, Nouns. I was most impressed with their T-side. They got 9 rounds on it, only needed to secure another 4 on their CT in order to get over. But even so, if you look at their players on the T-side, statistically speaking as well, most of their entry picks coming from Junior and Carson, 120 ADR just below for the two of them, with 2 very clear rifle players to play for, and not even needing to call upon somebody like George, who is also playing his role perfectly, but there were just never enough kills for him to justify being that late round passive player, right? So imagine now that you have the ability for Junior and Carson to be opening up your rounds, and then you've got more opportunity for George to play passively, whether it be on an extremity or just behind them. Opens up a whole new world of opportunity, really, for these players who weren't, quote unquote, in the limelight on the T side of Mirage, who were still above a 1.0 rating and then some, because they were doing such a great job in being supportive casts.
But that's the thing about Nouns, right? Like, everybody can be that guy, and then everybody can be the supportive guy. Like, that's what's so deadly about the team. You look at IGLs, you think, like, you know, CJ is probably not teed up for that, but sometimes he just is. Sometimes he's just that guy. Sometimes you just see CJ farm. He can take over games. Carson can take over games. George Rush Jr. can take over games. Like,
I think it's been a while since we've seen a Rush takeover. Well, at this level, Rush can definitely and has taken over games, I will say. But yeah, I'm glad to see Rush in this team. I was going to say, actually, after your point was made, that in this roster, I think I've seen him playing some of the better Counter-Strike that we have probably since when he was on the main EG roster and they were actually playing well and succeeding, right? I think this is actually some of the better individual Counter-Strike we've seen from him. I thought he was done after Party Astronauts. He went into that I forget what the actual job he did was, but it was like a performance coach type thing role. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He did like a completely different function in some way or another that I don't exactly remember, but it just wasn't an actual coach or as an actual player anymore. And I was like, damn, he's done, I guess. But I'm very happy to see him back.
And it's on a promising team too, because Nouns, like, Nouns are only a stone's throw away from kind of being the next, I'd say, like, M80, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he fits this team's bill.
I think he adds so much to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the one thing, like, in terms of this roster that anyone could ever say that they could, like, exchange or upgrade in due time would be either the caller or Rush's role. But the thing that you lose when you replace one of those two things is a lot.
True.
Unless you're getting some insane upgrade for a caller, right? It shouldn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. And I guess the upgrade for Rush would just be somebody absolutely cracked out of their mind and aim. Excuse me. But what you lose is a lot more that you don't really need.
Like, it's hard, right? Because I look at Nouns, and I think you're right about almost everybody that you look at. I mean, I think of I'd say up and coming talent you have on this team. I don't even know if I could really kind of classify some of these players. Is that right? Like,
I think the only player who's really up and coming still has to be George. That's really the only up and coming player this roster has.
But I mean, you can't even really say it about him, and that's why it's so hard.
He's like 21.
I don't mean age-wise. I just mean in the scene, right? Like, he's no newcomer, right? It's not like this is just, you know, some guy getting pulled up to ECL, to a big team, or his first debut in a squad that he can make, like, really take to the next level, or, like, could start show-stopping.
No, I'd say he's up and coming still. I'd still say so.
But even so,
I'd say Hex T is upcoming in the same vein.
I think Hex T's already that guy, personally. But I mean, you wouldn't swap out any of these people unless you had like some insane options, which you won't.
Yeah,
'Cause when
yeah,
you
that's what
look
I'm
at the
saying. That's what
region-
I'm saying. Obvious upgrades. Like the only players that you would have obvious upgrades for if you were to ever go for it are those two, and that's why I
Yeah.
said even then you probably wouldn't do it because you lose so much more. Especially in the case of Rush. Rush is somebody that you like. Sure, right? He might not be like a superstar entry player that walks in and gets 3, but what he brings is invaluable in literally every other aspect of the game, in and out.
I mean, I think the one way I can really summarize that whole point too is thinking back to a round on Mirage, where I want to say it was like 5-1 or 6-1 or something like that, and they're going up mid, they give away a kill, and Rush is just spaced so perfectly on Cat that as soon as Wolfie shows a shoulder of the window peak, he's just gone. Like there is no trade offered. There's no way you're getting that kill. It's these slight micro things, these micro positions, the slight ways he moves himself, the places he puts himself in. They're so good. And
Yeah.
it's subconscious too. That's not something you're gonna
Well,
get
no, yeah,
out of
it's just
anybody
experience
else
at this point. Literally,
Yeah.
the term experience. Bro's been in every position fathomable more times than many people have loaded
Okay,
up a
maybe not
game in
Aubrey,
general.
but
No, maybe not Opper.
unless you meant the other kind of
I
position.
meant positions in like
Yeah,
around,
touche,
just
touche.
physically around the map. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like 2v1 in this situation, 3v1 in this situation, yada yada yada. Either way, we are very, very silently up through E-Box right now, and Tender is not long for this world as a result when there's such a firing squad on the other side.
They got the stack here this time, but right now, Nouns are just running
Jeez.
through it. I mean, 2 unanswered picks on a 3-man B defense. That is harsh. And Nouns are not going to make it any easier on you as the time ticks forward. There's still a smoke that they're going to use to aid their escape. There's still these dualies that haven't been answered for, sure, but there's a couple of crossfires in the works. Rush, again, look at that. Just staying patient, knows how to play around this site, and almost ends up not getting that trade. That could have been Seb's way back into a limitless round, but instead, it ends the way as it should have. Another in the books for Nouns. Maybe a couple of kills on top. Whipped cream on your milkshake, I guess. I don't know.
Wiz and Wolfie have been a little bit silent for me to be at the top of the board in the way that they are. Like, silent in not a bad way, just like...
Impact.
Yeah, it's just like you don't really see them for every kill that they get, right? So they've almost like device silent 30 bombed in a sense, if that makes... if you've ever seen one of those. Where device kind of just gets like 2 kills every round and like a 3K and like a 1K, and you're like, oh my god, wait, device is like 30 and 12 right now. That's how many more times I can count when I see those.
Bro.
Like way too many times.
You know, what's the last movie you saw?
The last movie that I saw, The Green Book.
Yeah, you know, you asked me. The Green Book?
Yeah, it's a movie about I think I could be wrong with the time period. I think it's the 1950s, and it's like heavy segregation, right? And there's this piano player in a group in a band, and they're very, 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 very high end, right? Like they play for like snob people, and he needs a driver for his road trip, his tour or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this like Italian, like, hey yo, it's me. His name's Tony. Funny enough, he's like,
I see why you watched it.
yeah, he's his driver, and they like learn a lot about each other, but like from opposite sides. So he's like trying to like be himself, and he's trying to like suppress his like African American culture because he doesn't like it because all it does is like get him treated poorly, you know. But he's like very high end himself, like he's a snob, and they won't let him eat at like the restaurants or like stay at the hotels with the people, and it's crazy. It's a really good movie. You should watch it.
I went through this phase of kind of like watching a ton of random, like really classic movies just to really expand my arsenal, make sure I was caught up to date on the culture. But not a lot of culture going on here. It is quite the tech pause it seems we've unwinded ourselves into. So we're going to throw things to a break instead of rambling your ear off about some weird movies you probably never heard of. When we come back, hopefully we're ready to conclude Anubis. So, some unfortunate news. As you can see on the left, they are out of pause time on the side of Limitless for technical issues that we have unfortunately seen them go through throughout the series. So, 4v5 they play as they're unable to field a fifth under the current, or rather, terms and little legalities of the league. So, it's unfortunate the way it unwinds. I don't really know how to segue beyond that because it's not been an amazing round thus far. A trade is not what you're looking for.
No, this is less than ideal. That's what we'll say.
Yeah.
Not the situation you want to find yourselves in. No hope for a sub now. Picking apart little by little on every facet of the map. Limitless will have to do. As Nouns do get this one. The B side, but in a 2 versus 2 of all things, and a span through the smoke, keeping it honest in a 1v1, and now having to clear a multitude of angles. It's actually going to be the MP9 to come out on top of 4v5. They've done it on the first round attempt.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? Obviously, like, you know, my brain likes to jump to conclusions after one round is taken. Yep. But imagine, right? I'm just throwing it out there. Flirting with it a little bit. What if? You know?
No.
No? Oh, well. I tried. And so did Nouns. Doesn't seem to have mattered all that much, though. They find themselves still on the winning end of an 8-7 score, but not for long, potentially, if they let another slip like that. And, well, doesn't seem like they're too headstrong to do so. This time, it's not even a trade. It's not even a 1-for-1. It's just Seb falling and a clean opening engagement for Nouns that doesn't even leave a scratch on them. Another smoke in B main trying to prolong the inevitable, but they're ready to burst as soon as that fades.
5v3, surely the conversion comes through Anthran. I don't really see a world without this one slip. It's 2 MP9s to be able to stop them, and it's not exactly a whole army. And now they know that they're out here. At least 2 players for the T side may as well stack up. All 3, here it comes. The boom. They've got another smoke and another molly to keep them out from B for a little while longer, though. Molly's been thrown in a different direction. Smoke not to be deployed. It's Wiz hoping to kill all 5 from this point forwards. And he's got so many bodies all around him. That's going to be it. 9.
I like the way you phrased that. Hoping to kill all 5 from this point forward. I don't know why, but it was funny. But what's not so funny is the current thing Limitless have to go through. I'd be quite irate.
Already playing with
say.
8 games with a stand-in. 2 stand-ins, excuse me.
How about without one of the players? 2. You know, not enough.
How about we blindfold you?
How about we just take your mice, you know? You move your mouse with your arrow keys, and you, like, hit shift or something to swap between... No, because even that wouldn't work. I think you saw what I was cooking up. Anyhow.
I smell what you're cooking. Yeah, this is just melt. Just melt.
Like my ice cream. Every time I go to the parlor, it just melts. I'm a slow eater.
Are you? Actually?
No, not at all. I typically am like the first guy to finish my food and then just to instantly start telling people it's time to go, bro.
Are you actually? You're awful.
Oh, of course. Like, I sit down, you know, we're at a restaurant. I finish my food in like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, bro, you ready to go? No, he says, with half a plate full of food still.
I am a really slow eater, like terribly slow. But eating up the competition right now are Nouns. And there isn't very much of it. One less than typically you'd find. It's an appetizer, not the full main course that Limitless were hoping it to be. Serving up a slider with the 3 M4s and a FAMAS.
Right now. Not really much to it. Just feels like it's $30,000 worth of sides. And they don't seem to be curing very much of anything, let alone the sorrows of Limitless. So, again, sending CJ in their one-man army, maybe to try and work away a kill or another big opener. You don't entirely need it, but I mean, 5-on-4, well, that's manageable. 3-on-5 absolutely isn't. They both just stared at the flash. All right, Seb just gets 2 kills back because why the hell not? And this is around all of a sudden. Still only 1 person in defense of the
Nice
site.
spray.
Tender doesn't stay with it. Junior, as you said, illuminates the feed again. Not even on the off. Uh-oh. Overstepping their boundaries a little bit. Junior, way too spicy for the pepper.
What? Except from Temple, there's a nade in front of him in which he will take substantial damage from. Not life-threatening to 1 bullet territory. 2 will still have to do, and it's Wolfie who's going to have to do a majority of the weightlifting now. The bench is Preston Seb. Lay flat. And they've gotten it up to 11 now, the score. Even still coming down to pretty deep stages of these rounds, must be said.
And you only wonder in so many of these rounds if Limitless could have taken it.
What
right?
did you mean when you said that pepper thing?
It was a reference
to
American Dad.
Oh.
I drop a lot of references.
Okay.
You didn't hear the X
one.
amount of dollars worth of sides?
No, I didn't understand that one either.
$26,000 worth of sides?
I don't know what sorry, I don't know what that was.
You haven't seen The Wolf of Wall Street?
That was like years ago, and I was probably not in a frame of mind to remember everything, but right now, trying to forget this one is Limitless, I can almost as they can't really manage to cobble together enough kills. Pistols, but the A1S, hold on. What the hell? The P2000, pull George, please! I gotta get that kill. And eventually reins it in with 9 HP to leave his teammates into it, may be able to retrieve the gun.
I'm glad I just came to the realization in an eco round. Because, man, that'd have been a devastating blow to take on a rifle in multiple senses. Oh, wait, this ain't over. Tender's got other things to think of right now, and the only person on the site defense is on 9 HP. Never mind. Might be all she wrote or not. Wiz, HE, AK. Hold on a moment, because they've just exchanged utility. It's not planted for him, and that's where Wiz is going to take a little bit of an advantage, but only for a time. There's no kit. You don't have a lot to work with, and yeah, all of it ends well. It's 12-7. Nouns, to be fair, it was a map we expected him to win. Unfortunately, the going gets tough, and it doesn't seem that's going to change.
One more to go. Double up setup. Whip it out, boys. May as well. We're getting a little bit jiggy with it. We're getting crazy up in the stands right now, calling for the snipers to come down from the top ropes, and they're looking to finish it off in style at the very least. Have a little bit of fun with it. Wiz on his send-off game, pulling out the big green one last time, perhaps, Anthran. We'll see what he can do with it.
I don't know how much, considering it seemed for a moment they were going to set up Rush. They already tried to set up Wiz. Right now, it seems to be a trap, or not. Wiz. This is the way to get things back to a 4-on-4. At least how you can make it even. Stevens, what a shot on Junior, and he's going back for more. Trade potentially offered as Tender looks to take the exact space his teammate just fell in. Nice, great response. Talked earlier about how he's not typically the one showing up in the star sheet, but now he is. Carson drops the bomb, though, rather than
Good flash.
I guess he is somewhat credited for it, but makes this a lot more confusing.
They're going to regroup. They're going to come in together, I think, from the bottom side. Canals is where they want to end up. Wolfie still sending utility into their direction and locking them out of mid with that smoke, very least. Rushing the other end. Their options slow. They don't have the bomb. I didn't even realize. I don't know if you were saying that and I just tuned you out, but I literally must have just tuned you out, but smoke blown. It won't really even come to matter. Seb, one of them using the sniper rifle, not their primary, but still finding that first. Maybe an attempted another with the C4 still laid to rest. A player to his right. Clothesline, 13-7, and that will conclude the season for 2 of the 5 Limitless players being stand-ins, Wiz and Tender. They'll be thanked for their services in this long of a time, in this stretch of these 8 games, but soon, Cyrus and Sandman will return to the active roster, but Nouns take the dub 2-0 tonight.
Again, you said before, it's a team where you kind of hope they've been playing with their starting 5 in the offlines or in their own spare time. I didn't expect to see this one go all the way for Limitless. Neither of us did. It was